Chapter 5. Royal Mail. Master Gaius, the Queen's personal advisor, made his way towards Monica's private quarters with measured, deliberate steps. She had summoned him to discuss a matter both personal and urgent, and he sensed the gravity of the request. As a precaution, 2 sentinels stood watch outside the doors, an oath-bound safeguard to ensure the Queen's security, despite Monica's frequent insistence that she was more than capable of defending herself. Stopping before the doors, Gaius raised his hand and delivered 4 sharp raps. "Who calls?" Monica's voice came from within. "It is I, your advisor, my queen," Gaius replied, his tone formal and respectful. "Enter," she answered without hesitation. Gaius gently pushed the doors open and stepped into the Queen's inner sanctum. The room greeted him with a quiet stillness, heavy with unspoken thought. With the ease of long habit, he drew the doors closed behind him. The soft click, echoing faintly, as the chamber was sealed off from the outside world, ensuring privacy for the conversation that was about to unfold. As Gaius entered, his gaze was immediately drawn to Monica. She had changed from her formal princess attire into a resplendent gown of deep emerald green, its fabric embroidered with intricate golden floral patterns. The dress was a thoughtful gift from Lady Windsor, a long-standing ally of House Raybrandt, and it suited Monica with a quiet elegance that spoke of both grace and emerging authority. Beside her lay an assortment of delicacies from Lao Chow's bistro, which she had been idly sampling as she read. The familiar comforts seemed to ground her, offering a brief respite from the weight of the day. Her hair, usually gathered into a braided ponytail, now flowed freely down her back in a silken cascade that reached almost to her knees. The absence of rigid styling lent her a softer, more vulnerable air, one that contrasted gently with the crown she now bore in spirit, if not yet in ceremony. Monica was absorbed in a stack of letters spread across the table before her, each bearing the seal of a lord or lady from distant corners of the realm. Her eyes lingered on one letter in particular. It was from Duke Leonard Devereux, written with sincere condolence for the loss of her father. His words carried more than polite sympathy. They spoke of genuine sorrow and an enduring bond between their houses, reinforced by a promise of steadfast support in the years ahead. The alliance between House Devereux and House Raybrandt was an old and storied one, forged through generations of loyalty. As Monica read, she felt a quiet reassurance settle within her. Even in the wake of profound loss, she was not as alone as she sometimes feared, and there were those who stood ready to support her as she stepped into her new role as queen. Another letter bore the seal of Lady Medici, a noblewoman known less for her warmth than for her hauteur. Though the Medici family possessed noble blood, they had long lingered at the fringes of royal favour. Lady Medici herself was driven by a singular, unmistakable ambition to bind her lineage to the crown by whatever means proved necessary. Her repeated manoeuvres to secure a royal marriage for one of her 3 sons were thinly veiled attempts to anchor her descendants to the throne. Love and genuine kinship, if they entered her calculations at all, were little more than afterthoughts. Now that Monica had ascended to the throne, Lady Medici's efforts had only grown more persistent. Yet Monica, guided by a discernment befitting her new station, remained unmoved. She had no intention of allowing marriages of convenience to erode the integrity of her reign. With quiet resolve, the careful strokes of her pen across guest lists for the coronation and forthcoming court gatherings made her position clear. The Medici family would find no favour within her court. The final letter came from Duchess Fitzroy, a woman renowned for her generosity of spirit. A childhood confidant of Monica's mother, the Duchess had devoted her life to charitable endeavours and was beloved by the people, far more so than many noble houses, which looked down upon her for having married a commoner. Duchess Fitzroy held deep respect for those who rose through perseverance and hard work, rather than those who merely inherited wealth and wielded status with indifference towards the less fortunate. Within her letter, the Duchess extended a heartfelt invitation. She wished Monica to attend a charity sporting event intended to raise funds for a new orphanage, a sanctuary for children left bereft by the devastation of Griffin's assault upon the land. As Monica read, her heart swelled with purpose and anticipation. To support such a cause was not merely an obligation, but a calling, one she resolved to answer as soon as her coronation had been duly celebrated. After skimming the last of the letters, the Queen lifted her gaze towards Master Gaius. "Thank you for waiting so patiently while I finished with these," she said softly. "No trouble at all, Your Majesty," Gaius replied with a polite inclination of his head. "You mentioned that you wished to speak with me about a matter of some urgency." Monica rose from her seat, the movement signalling her readiness. "Yes, I need you to gather information on 2 individuals," she said. "I want to know what became of them." "Of course, my Queen," Gaius responded. "If you would be so kind as to give me their names." Monica began with the first name close to her heart. "The first is a boy named Maximilian. He was a young inventor who aided me in defeating Griffin. He is Elena's son and the chosen bearer of the red Atlamilia." Gaius nodded thoughtfully as he made note of the name. "I recall Elena mentioning that she had a son, though at the time she was believed to be searching for the red stone herself." "Eleanor fell in love with a man named Gerald," Monica explained. "A businessman from Palm Brinks. Gerald protected the stone until Max eventually received it." Gaius paused, surprise briefly crossing his features. "Palm Brinks?" he repeated. "That town has been abandoned for nearly 100 years. Monica blinked, taken aback. "Abandoned?" she echoed. "Why?" "I cannot say for certain," Gaius admitted, "but I will consult the archives and see what records remain. There may yet be answers." "Thank you, Gaius," Monica said quietly. After a moment she added, "I ask because I want to know whether Max lived a good life after Griffin was defeated." Her voice softened at the last words. It was not merely curiosity that drove her request, but a lingering hope that the boy who had stood beside her in the darkest of times had found happiness in the years that followed. Gaius shifted his stance and prepared to resume taking notes, quill poised above the page. Curious, he glanced up. "And who is the other person you wish me to look into, my Queen?" Monica met his gaze. "A young girl named Tren." The moment the name left her lips, Gaius's hand stilled. His quill hovered midair as a flicker of concern crossed his face, brief but unmistakable. Monica noticed at once. "Is something wrong, Master Gaius?" she asked gently. Gaius quickly masked his reaction and shook his head. "No, not at all, my Queen," he replied. though his voice carried the faintest hesitation. I was merely distracted by another thought. He cleared his throat and gestured lightly with the quill. Please tell me more about this Tren. Monica obliged, her voice steady but quietly laden with concern. Tren is roughly my age. She has dark hair, blue eyes, and a scattering of freckles across her face. She is the daughter of a tavern keeper from the village, neighbouring the castle. The last time I saw her, she fled into a cave to protect a group of children from Emperor Griffin's soldiers. She paused, then continued more softly. I need to know whether she survived, whether she is living elsewhere now. And if she did not, then I will need an official record of her passing. Gaius nodded solemnly. As you wish, my queen. I will investigate both names thoroughly and report back to you. However, I must ask for patience. My findings will not be ready until after your coronation. That is perfectly acceptable, Monica replied at once. Take all the time you need. There is no urgency greater than accuracy. Gaius bowed deeply in gratitude. Thank you, my queen. As he straightened, another thought occurred to him. If I may, since you mentioned the red stone earlier, what became of it, and of your own blue stone? Monica's expression darkened with memory. Both my stone and Max's were destroyed during our battle with the Emperor, she said solemnly. We also succeeded in destroying Griffin's sunstone. A trace of disappointment flickered across Gaius's face, though it quickly gave way to understanding. I see, he said. Still, if they are truly gone, then at least they can never again fall into the wrong hands. He inclined his head respectfully. If you will excuse me, my queen, I should begin my inquiries at once. Before Gaius took his leave, he hesitated, then turned back to Queen Monica with a gravity that matched the seriousness of his words. Your Majesty, there is one final matter that requires your attention, he said, extending a neatly bound set of documents towards her. These papers await your signature. Monica frowned slightly as she accepted them, her eyes scanning the sheer volume. That is quite a lot of papers to sign. Gaius offered a reassuring smile. Do not worry, my queen. They are prepared for use with an auto-signer, a recent invention from elevenlabs. All you need to do is sign your name once at the base of the pad, and the device will replicate your signature across every document within moments. Relieved, Monica followed his instructions, carefully signing her name upon the pad. Almost instantly, the device hummed to life. In the span of seconds, all 200 documents bore her signature, precise and unmistakable. As the final page was completed, a curious smile flickered across Gaius's lips. Your decisiveness strengthens this kingdom, Your Majesty, he said smoothly. You will find no regret in these actions. With the Queen's assent secured, Gaius bowed deeply and withdrew. The chamber door closed behind him with a soft whisper, leaving the room once more in silence. For a brief moment, unease stirred within Monica. Her thoughts lingered on the faint note of satisfaction in Gaius's expression, his earlier reaction to Tren's name, and his pointed curiosity regarding the Atlamillia. The pieces did not quite settle, leaving behind a quiet sense of disquiet. At last, she shook the feeling away and returned her attention to the letters spread across her desk. Each one stood as a silent reminder of the many responsibilities now bound to her name, a queen's burdens, waiting patiently to be answered.